Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm Miles, your host, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we are going to talk about yesterday's Supreme Court ruling. That was a 9-0 about weed not being a disqualifier for gun rights, and how this is a huge, massive win for two rights advocates, for rights restoration people, et cetera, all of which I am, all of which the network is. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all falls out. Basically, is what it is there. I was we'll also talk a little bit about what happened here at the gun shop today with me and the chicanery, the fuckery, et cetera, there that happened there, which was not cool, but I think it had to do with some stuff that happened last week, is what it was then. And then, of course, obviously today is Juneteenth, which is literally the dumbest federally recognized holiday in U.S. history, pretty much. So my understanding was it was basically you had a small handful of people not realizing that they weren't enslaved until somebody came along and was like, hey, Lincoln freed the slaves like 6 months ago. So... and it just happened to be Juneteenth was that day or whatever that this person was telling like random people that were still thinking they were under slavery. It's like, nope, you're free to go do sharecropping stuff now, bro. So, which is what a lot of them became at that point, honestly. So, anyway, but yeah, I went up to the gun shop today, tried to get those one horse full lowers that they have on sale up there. Unfortunately, they did not have any yet again. I was talking to the kid that was, I think he's either an assistant manager, he's the manager of the gun section there is what it is. And he was telling me, which nobody told me this before, which I thought was pretty crazy, me being up there, both last week and the week before this. So for the past, 3 weeks now is what it is. And he's like, yeah, there's, because of how, I guess it's relating to these gun manufacturers, like around the summertime is when their like slow season starts, I guess is what he said, because all the sales and stuff have basically gone completely done for the season, or whatever you want to call it there. And so they'll stop basically manufacturing like a ton of stuff. And what he was telling me was not only are they having issues getting these in, which from what it sounds like they might not have gotten any in for the past couple Wednesday deliveries, what it is there. And so they're out of stock on those, and they're out of stock on a bunch of other stuff too. That all these different like Ruger and Smith and Wesson, everybody like that are not sending their stuff to them, is what it is then. So yeah. So what ended up happening was then I ended up saying, all right, fuck it, let's like what's your, because I noticed they had a couple strip lowers in the case there that were apparently both Rugers, and one of them was a 250th anniversary one, the other one was not. And I was like, let me get two of the ones that are the cheaper one there. And so he took it to the back, he came back out, and he's like, here's the deal. There's only this one left in stock. And I was like, well, fine then. Get me one of the other ones too. So I ended up buying two strip lowers is what it is then. And then, of course, the same issue that happened last week happened today, which I don't know if this is the ATF fucking with me or if it's the fact that, as they told me last week, but didn't bother telling me this would be an issue in the future kind of thing is what it is then. Which is that because of how my ID was and it didn't line up or whatever, which I think is really interesting too, because it also makes me kind of wonder and question, because I'd got this ID like, I don't even know how long ago it was, maybe like 6 months ago or so, because it was either the end of last year, beginning of this year is when I wanted to buy something up there, and that's when I basically got it then is what it was. And so I'm wondering if it didn't take this long for the ATF to come back and be like, hey, this address doesn't match up because there's like an extra piece or something in there where it's like southwest or northeast or whatever it's supposed to be there, when there shouldn't be that in there, was what it is. But it's interesting though, because when I actually looked up my address here, if you look it up with whatever that is in there for the place, it actually comes up directly on my building. But yet then if you just do it as the address of my apartment number, then it just comes up with like just some random pictures what it is that's like around this area. So yeah, it's very weird. But yeah, they're basically telling me today, they're like, yeah, that address that we're putting in from your ID doesn't actually exist is what it is. And I'm like, that's pretty strange because I literally live at this place is what it is. So yeah, basically what they told me was I was either going to do what I did last week, which is go buy a $5 1-day range pass. I have to do that every time going forward to buy a gun from them, unless I get my ID changed what it is basically. Or it would be I could go up to the front there and get a $25 fishing license that would be valid for a year, and that would suffice as me just having to have a fishing license with me in the future, plus my ID to be like, hey, here's the paperwork that shows like, yes, this is the actual address. What it says on the ID is not, like there's too much on there, whatever it is there from the BMV. So, which I thought was interesting too, because you would have thought that like, especially with the woman last week, who my understanding is, I guess she's their like go-to person that just like basically sits in the back all day and does the background checks for them. Like she's that person that's dedicated to just doing that. Because I always thought it was them going back there themselves and just putting it in or whatever. But no, apparently it's they go back in there, take the tablets to her for the background checks. She puts all the information in there is what it is then. And then she goes and does the stuff, which I would think if that was the person that's doing it, like you would think they would be like, hey, like, yeah, like you're better off to just buy like the more expensive one or whatever the case be, because this is going to be an issue in the future. But yeah, she didn't say shit about that. That's what it is. I thought was very strange. So, but it is what it is. At least I don't have a valid fishing license in the state of Ohio. So that's the first time I've ever had one of those, which I don't really fish that often in like public places, which if I had thought better of it, I maybe should have just, because I think they said something about hunting license too. And I maybe should have gone for the hunting license instead, just because I know I'm going to be hunting at some point this year is what it is then. With the 350 is what it is then. So, but yeah, I got a reason I bought those two lowers that I'm going to do some cool shit with them, because I ended up picking up these cool ass James Madison Tactical Saber Evo drop-in triggers off of Delta Team recently, and I'm gonna end up putting one of these in one of the deals there, and then it's gonna be that'll be in the one rifle that I'm probably gonna put on my 350 is what it is then, which most likely I'll just use that lower all the time on something else, and then it's whenever hunting season comes around I'll probably just switch it over to the 350 Legends what it is then. So. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. It's these are apparently 3.5 to 4 pound trigger pulls, and are compatible with both AR-15 multi-cals and 308 calibers. So yeah, pretty cool deal. And I was actually gonna have my cousin, his buddy, put those into the last ones that I did with the pistol lowers, but I didn't get a chance to get them in time for them to put them in without the so they had to put in the regular fire control groups from the actual lower parts kits, but it is there. So, but that's fine, because I'm just going to do that with the new one is what it is, and we'll just have a cool pistol lower, and then have a cool I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably do the 250th anniversary one as a dedicated rifle, and then I'll do the other one as a pistol, so it is then. And then from here, it's basically just hopefully, wait and see if those other full lowers come in or not. And if they do, I'll just buy a couple of those then that I need for the other uppers I've bought recently, is what it is then. So, but yeah, it's just a bunch of, like I said, just a bunch of running around. Like I was telling the old guy who was one of the gun counter guys today, I was like, yeah, if I know, bro, I think the ATF was fucking with me at this point. Like I was making a joke about that. Obviously, I don't think they really are. I think, like I said, I think what happened was it was something where I had put in the address not completely correctly, as what it was last week, from how it directly showed on my ID is what it was then. And then because of that, it basically triggered something in the system, and that's why it's messing up now is what it is, where every time before that I put it in exactly how it was written on my ID, and it worked fine that time is what it is then. So, which I haven't done it a ton of times up there, maybe like, I don't know, 3 or 4 at this point, but even still, like, it just seems weird to have it be all of a sudden an issue now. So again, it's semantics, but yeah, it was both the old man and then the this younger guy basically telling me like the only way to completely it would be go to the BMV and have them like I don't know if they were basically saying like have them reissue my ID to me, or if it was something where they would do like a piece of paperwork or something like that they would have that would be with the actual proper address on is what it is then, without the like various like whatever it is like southwest, northeast, whatever it is there on the thing. So, but either way, they weren't really explaining it to where I could 100% understand what they were telling me to do, basically. So again, it is what it is, but you know, it's semantics at this point. Like I said, I have the fishing license now, so that's going to suffice for the time being. If I got to go up there and buy anything else, that's what it'll be. So really, none of this should even be an issue, is what it is, though, because in a just society, we should just be able to walk into a gun shop and have it be like that scene from the Highwaymen movie, where you quite literally are just like, yeah, let me see this, and this, and it's all a bunch of full auto. And then it's like, I'll take them all, along with this, and this kind of ammo. So that was another thing I thought was interesting, though, because when I was talking, this goes directly into the SCOTUS ruling, then what it is. So I was talking to a couple of the guys at the gun shop there. I was talking to the dude that was like the assistant manager or manager, whatever it was, the gun counter, about the SCOTUS ruling. He's like, that's interesting, because it sounds to me like he was probably one of these dudes that did dabble a little bit in the weed, is what it is. And then I was talking to the one kid at the that was the cashier there, and when I mentioned something to him about it, he's like, that's really going to be a game changer. And I was like, tell me about it. So my understanding is with this particular case, and we're going to bring it up right now is what it is, because this happened yesterday. So you have the Supreme Court Rule 9-0. This happened to be a dude that was a guy from Texas that was doing it through the course of his was there. Because apparently my understanding was he was an occasional weed user where he smoked a couple times a week, or maybe like 3 or 4 times a week is what it was, or whatever. And so this is what it says here. It says, Supreme Court ruling on Thursday barred the government from restricting the gun rights of casual drug users in a case involving a Texas man who occasionally consumed marijuana. And again, that's a big fucking deal, man. That is a big fucking deal. Yeah, Supreme Court rules government can't restrict gun rights for casual drug use. And that is a huge win for Second Amendment rights. It's like huge for rights restoration across the board, and that's what it is. Because you can now have a bunch of people who potentially were having their gun rights taken from them for some bullshit fucking thing, because God forbid, you know, they were somebody like myself or whatever the case be, who, you know, we were in such constant pain and agony and stuff like that from arthritis and shit that like there are some days where, you know, God forbid, we may need a little bit of help, you know, maybe some Delta 9 or something. And so we end up taking a gummy to make us feel better and actually be able to get some sleep. That's what it is. And now we'd have our rights restricted, what it is there. Now, granted, I haven't done that in a while, is what it is, but even still, it's like, you know, I shouldn't be restricted from having my rights just because my pain. And I even said that to the cashier guy. I was like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, God forbid I take a Delta 9 gummy or something like that every so often. And he's like, exactly. And then he admitted to me, he's like, yeah, I mean, I smoke on occasion. And I was like, I'm not surprised by that. So, but yeah, it's just funny though. But yeah, it's definitely a game changer for sure, because it does show like, and this is what I've said for some time now, like really my biggest gripe with the Supreme Court entirely is I know there's supposed to be like several thousand cases that they're basically having brought to them every year, and they can only do like so many rulings or this here and there. And this is what I don't understand when it comes to specifically 2A rights in this country, why there's not like a huge ruling just across the board of like any potential cases that could come forward, where they just do like a ruling and just like rule it as, hey, this is unconstitutional, hey, this is unconstitutional, hey, this is unconstitutional, hey, this is unconstitutional, and then just have like these 7, 8, 10 parameters over it is there, where if any future case would fall into any of those parameters, then it would be like, hey, this is how it's already been ruled. This is how it should be interpreted, et cetera, et cetera. And then it just gets knocked down to the lower courts again to, do the job the correct way and rule in favor of it. Yes, it is in fact unconstitutional. This person can now have their rights restored over it is there. And then at the same time, you could potentially have other rulings that come forward that maybe don't fit into that original box or whatever it is there of that, 5, 7, 10 different kind of case rulings or whatever it is there. And so you might have to add like an 11th or a 12th one is what it is then, based on that like one weird one or whatever it is there. And that way it would be much easier for them to do something like that is what it is there and just have like a strict set of guidelines is what it is there essentially as the, case precedent rulings from past rulings is what it is there. And then you could actually have people that are in the lower court systems, whether it be, a Fifth Circuit court, a Sixth Circuit court, a Ninth Circuit court, whatever it is there, or even just like some lower court, even before that is what it is then, that could just be like, hey, like this is clearly blatantly unconstitutional what this person's having done to them, or whatever the case be, or this is blatantly unconstitutional what this state is trying to pass when it comes to like red flag laws or universal background checks or ammo background checks or mag capacity restrictions or something like that's what it is, kind of things like that basically. And then that way you could actually have a lot more time be freed up for other cases to be ruled upon is what it is then. And I think that's my biggest gripe right now with our government as it stands right now is that they're not doing stuff like that when they should be doing stuff like that is what it is. And you could actually streamline shit to be way more efficient is what it is then. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it for the whole thing on that. That was what it is. So, but yeah, basically going back to the gun shop stuff though, what should have essentially taken, I think the guy told me would have been like 10 to 15 minutes, give or take, when I first filled paperwork there is what it is. And that was at like, I think right around 11 or so, maybe 11:05, something like that. By the time it was all said and done, I had to do everything else, go up to the front, get a fishing license, come back there, give it to them, refill out the thing. And that was another thing that pissed me off, by the way, because last time I was there last week, they didn't even need that. They literally just took it to the back as it was already filled out and stuff like that, and just like put that in as an extra piece or whatever the case being. It worked through fine then when I got the revolver. But yeah, he had me refill out the whole 4473 on the tablets of what it is then. Now, granted, at that time it took me like way less time because I was able. The only thing I had as a problem there is I was like, okay, like I know it says on my ID here, like, so how am I supposed to actually fill this out with my address is what it is then? He's like, oh, well, here's the fishing license of how it's written down there, and he's like, just fill it out that way is what it is then. And I was like, oh, okay, because I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna do here is what it is kind of thing. So, but yeah, apparently it was just me taking out like whatever it was, like south, southeast, southwest, whatever it was on the thing there. And then everything else was good to go as it was. So it's so stupid. So stupid. But yeah, I basically spent like $30 more than I needed to, or I should have had to in the past 2 weeks now because of this shit. Which sucks because that could have been, basically 3 boxes of ammo I could have had now based on that, or at least 2 boxes of ammo plus tax and stuff. But again, it is what it is. At least I know it's done now, and if it's an issue in the future, I could always just figure it out from there. Is what it is then. So, but yeah, I definitely got some cool stuff. Then I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna put the those James Madison Tactical what are they called? James Madison Tactical Saber Evo drop-in single stage triggers in those new lowers. Is what it is then. So. These should be fun though, by the way, and this will definitely be whatever rifle lower I put this into. That'll definitely turn into a competition firearm in the future is what it is then. So probably not for me though, just because of my bum knee and stuff like that. But yeah, if my cousin wanted to do like 3-gun competition or something like that, I would just give him that rifle is what it is then and be like, here you go, bro. So we just try to streamline the shit out. That's what it is then. But anyway, good times. Oh, I also found out what suppressors look like today in person. So that was fun because I was talking to the guy about the apparently, I guess High Point has a secondary company called Hush Point that makes suppressors in the state of Ohio. And they do, I think it's 22 was the one they had on sale up there, which apparently they were out of stock on, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then they had, it was an interesting case because the very last case they had down there. And then it was basically, it was kind of a weird way that they were built, that the inner part of the case was built, because it was basically like a bunch of like notch holes where it was almost like a smiley face kind of notch. There's what it is. And they had like each one of them set in there, and it was like 3 different rows then is what it was. And I think it was basically, I think there was about 30 or 40 a row is what it is then. There was a lot of them, dude. There was at least like, I would say at least like 100 plus in that case, honestly. So, and it was all, they obviously had like their little differences there. Like, here's all the 45 ones, here's a lot of 22 ones, there's all the 30 cows, there's all the other ones here that are 5.56 only or 7.62 only or whatever it is there. So, yeah, it was really interesting. So, I didn't get to handle any, unfortunately, but I just was giving a look over mowers what it was then. There was a lot of them pretty cool, obviously, and yeah. I will say though, for some of these companies that make this stuff, they way overprice that shit, especially for like a 22, man. Like anything, because obviously there's a couple that are like $200-300 what it is then, and there's other ones that are like 500 to $1,000. I'm just like, who the fuck is paying $1,000 for a literal suppressor for a 22 rifle or pistol? Like, that's just retarded in general. Like, that's somebody with way too much money is what it is. So, anyway. But, yeah, it was pretty interesting. I saw some interesting characters up there when I was up there today. There was a couple. It was an older white guy who's probably like, I'm thinking like mid-60s, give or take. And then a woman who looked like she was probably like very light-skinned mixed race. That was either his wife or girlfriend, one of the two. I'm not sure which. But apparently he was trying to get, it was some kind of a, what's that kind of company that everybody hates? Springfield Armory. That's what it was. He was trying to get some kind of Springfield Armory rifle that they apparently didn't have in stock. And apparently my understanding is, from what the guy who sold me my revolver last week, because he was helping them out, he was telling them, he said none of their stores had that rifle in stock, which I thought was pretty interesting. Which again goes back to what this Mark or Mike or Marcus or whatever his name was there that was helping me out today, with the lowers. Like he was saying, with all the stuff they have there that's not in stock or whatever, because they're not getting shipments in the way they're supposed to, is what it is, from these companies. Not manufacturing like they're supposed to, is what it is, or something. So my guess is it would be something like that, honestly. But then the guy also wanted, like, I guess some kind of a Colt they didn't have in stock at that shop there, but they had it in, I think it was their Ashland stores, what it was. And he's like, hey, do you want me to call them up and have them reserve one for you? And the guy's like, yes, I do. Thank you very much. So, yeah, at least they were 1 for 2 on that one. But, yeah, there was a lot of people buying a lot of stuff there today, actually, when I got up there to look at the lowers and stuff. There was a, it looked like a woman in probably her, I'm trying to think if it was mid-30s or mid-40s even. I'm thinking probably older than I am, honestly, so it'd probably be like 45, 47, something like that maybe. And she was buying some kind of bolt action. I'm not sure if it was a Savage or something else. There was a couple other guys up there that were buying some lever action Henry rifles. And then it looked like there were several guys down the line buying just various pistols and stuff like that then. So they were doing a pretty good, and that, mind you, this is all at like, what time did we get up there today? It would have been right around 11 o'clock this day. I think it was maybe like 10:55 when we walked in the door this morning. So, or maybe just after 11. Yeah, I think it was 11:05 actually when we walked through that door. So yeah, it took about 50 minutes or so between that time and then me actually being able to get my background check stuff done and get everything properly done with having to do a fishing license then to have my actual proper address on is what it is then. So Which, like I said, it does kind of piss me off that the guy last week didn't just say, "Hey, like, you better off just doing this when you're going to buy in the future, because otherwise we're going to try and fuck you over every time." Is what it is then. Which I'm not saying they're trying to fuck me over, but like, it again, I think it was just some weird thing where it was either because I had written it wrong in the thing to begin with, or it was something where it triggered something in their system and it just took this long for the ATF to finally figure out whatever it was there, which again would make sense given government bureaucracy and red tape and stuff like that, where it seems to take them like 6 months to a year or more to get this shit done. Is what it is then, and then figure out like, oh, this is actually a wrong thing, or whatever the case be. But yeah, it's just super duper weird, is what it is, man. So I don't know, just seems very suspicious in general. But I do want to point something out though, because I know I fell asleep on camera last week, which did suck. And I will say, I do know why my neck is fucked up now after rewatching that when I was sleeping for about 45 minutes during that stream, because I was like all over the place, man. It definitely messed up my neck and my back. But yeah, I was mentioning something about the Oathbreakers here in Ohio pushing a bunch of crap is what it is there, and fucking over Freedom to Carry Act then. So the biggest problem with Ohio's General Assembly right now is there is anywhere from 33 to 35 people in it that should not even be in it at all right now, because they have chamber jumped in the past decade or so, at least once, if not more than once, since we updated our what do we call it now? Yeah, since we had the rules in our state constitution when it comes to being able to serve in either the state house or the state senate, where it used to be you could basically serve unlimited amount of terms is what it is then. And it was in 2014 we ended up doing a voter passed initiative where you can only have 8 years on either side. But the problem with that was it was not enforced with a strict mandate of, hey, if you've been serving in the state house for the past 8 years, you can't simply jump the state senate or vice versa the next election cycle and stay in power, because that's exactly what people are doing. They're using that loophole that shouldn't exist in the first place to basically remain in power and be a career piece of shit that is there. And of course, you have people like Matt Huffman now who have done that this past go around in 2024 is what it was there. Or in the same aspect of that, Casey Weinstein did the same exact thing where he should have been kicked out of the state house back in really 2020 is what it, or actually, I'm sorry, 2019 is what it was, when he committed the hate hoax against himself there with the tyrant memes and then basically lied about it and never got investigated for misuse of USPS and also federal felonies at that time. And of course, Weinstein since then has been a complete asshole and done a bunch of other shady shit too, for that matter. But at that time, he was trying to push a magazine being in the state of Ohio based around the Dayton massacre is what it was there. And thank God we, as a bunch of individuals, this is obviously pre the network, this is obviously pre Ohio's for Firearms Freedom, et cetera, there. It was myself and a bunch of people with Star Exchange United and a bunch of other just pro-2 advocates in general in the state that came together and were like, nope, we're not letting you fuckers do this shit. Go eat a dick. And then it was right after that was when Weinstein pulled the hate up himself, what it was then. And yeah, that guy's just a piece of shit, demonic, baby-killing asshole, anti-gun, sack of crap in general, who apparently loves to push the fact that he's Jewish to try to shut down any kind of actual true conversation against him. He's trying to pull the whole anti-Semitic bullshit. I think that's the whole thing with a lot of people, actually, is they're trying to pull that, like, religion card is what it is there. Even though it has nothing to do with anything. And it's like, no, you're just an asshole, bro. Go fuck yourself. This has nothing to do with what your fucking religious background is. It has 100% to do with the fact that you've been an oath-breaking sack of shit this entire time for the past 7 fucking years or so or more. And you need to be kicked out of office completely and in prison right now is what it is. So the same thing with Allison Russo is trying to run for Secretary of State right now at the end of the year here, as well as a bunch of these other scumbags, sacks of shit. So, but yeah, one thing I thought was interesting though, and this is something that happened here locally in Ohio now, you had this past week, there was a piece of legislation that was brought back by Kyle Kellner, who shouldn't even be in our state house either for that matter. And he got back in, I believe it was the 2024 election cycle. He had been an oath-breaking sack of shit rhino in the state for like a decade or more before all this. And then he got, I think, was termed out of office back in like 2022 or 2020, one of the two. I think it was 2020. But he was the fucking scumbag sack of shit. And this is why I hate Buckeye Firearms so much, is what it is. because it was Buckeye Firearms, and at that time it was I'm trying to think of, like, the guy's first name was Jim. I forget what his last name was offhand. It's not Jim or Nacy. It was somebody else. It was that worked for Buckeye Firearms. What it was there, but it was that dude and Kellner who were doing these backdoor shady ass deals where they were specifically taking great pieces of 2A legislation in the state of Ohio and watering them way the fuck down to where they were basically nothing, and they look completely different from what they started out as. Obviously, like if it was like if the original piece of legislation would have been like, hey, this is rights restoration, 100% pro 2A, et cetera. By the time it was all said and done and watered down, it was like, okay, this is about 20% pro 2A, if even that much, and it basically does nothing from what it was supposed to do. And that's what they were passing when it was all said and done. So, but yeah, it's just a bunch of scumbag bullshit is what it is there. But thankfully, that Jim dude that was Buckeye Firearms at the time, the rest of the org kicked his ass out of there. But the problem with that is that no matter what, that person is always going to be a stain on your organization at that point in time then, because you allowed that shit to happen under your watch is what it is. And you did nothing to actually stop it. And then not only that, when you finally did figure out this dude was scumbagging everybody, you just simply cut ties with him. And then you yourself, as a 2A rights organization in the state of Ohio, has most recently gone and backed people like Ramaswamy for governor, who is a known sack of shit criminal. And it's like, dude, either back no one, or I don't know, maybe just shut up and stop backing the most anti-gunner pieces of shit possible in the fucking race. You know? Which makes sense, given Buckeye Firearms is a bunch of ex-cops and stuff like that, so it's a bunch of fucking oath-breaking pigs to begin with what it is there, so is it any surprise that they would back, a fucking douchebag, anchor baby, literal fucking multi-time criminal that's never been convicted of any crimes because he's been able to buy his way out of a bunch of stuff, including literal securities fraud crimes, and then, of course, crimes against humanity is what it is right now. So, yeah, it's just a bunch of shit entirely, dude. I really wish that we would just have a special election primary in August here in Ohio, kick Vivek and Acton both out of this governor's race entirely, have brand new people on both sides of the aisle, a bunch of new Democrats, a bunch of new Republicans jump in the race there in the next 5-6 weeks now is what it is. And then just have it on a Tuesday and they're in August, and we could just easily have a better governor's race entirely is what it is then. So unfortunately, it's not going to happen. We got to deal with the shit. So it's basically going to come down to, I think it's going to be abolishment of state government come 2027, because that's the only way we can deal with this shit then. Because there's no way that Vivek or Acton can ever take the governorship. They would need to be removed from office immediately is what it is, just based on their past crimes that they've each committed, including literal genocide of Ohioans and American citizens for that matter. And then basically move along from there is what it is. So, but anyway, let's since we've basically covered what we're going to cover today, except for obviously the Juneteenth stuff, I want to jump in to X for a couple minutes here, and we'll see what's going on with old Juneteenth. There is what it is. See how we got some craziness going on. I swear to God, dude, there is definitely some algorithm shit that's like, as soon as I keep saying the term Juneteenth, like as soon as I go to a social media site, it just pops up Juneteenth stuff, because I shit you not, like I literally just went to X there, and this is my feed immediately. So we got Juneteenth celebration at HEB, bunch of people doing some Kuta Kinte shit there, having like a reggae band or whatever it is there. Then we got Ohio Senate GOP, happy Juneteenth from the Ohio Senate. I actually saw, when I went down to downtown Columbus, when I was driving through downtown Canton this morning for my doctor's appointment, I noticed that the city had put up, it was a mix of American, they had their flagpoles on different things there, And you had the first one that had the American flag on it, and there was a second one that had the coloration of, I think this is supposed to be the African flag, if I'm not mistaken here, is what it is. And it was that coloration. It was the green, yellow, and red. So that was pretty interesting. So let's see what else we got here. Can't show that. Yeah, that seems pretty gay. Let's see what this black supremacist guy is talking about here. Well, I want to point out something for those that don't know why I'm wearing this specific hat today. It literally matches my shirt because I got my tie-dye like green and white, and the hat is a very similar coloration to what it is there. I'm not sure if anybody realized that today, but point it matches what it was. So because I'm wearing the hat today as well. Yeah, so you got this guy saying, white people, were you aware that we didn't exist before the 1600s? As this person here said, I can trace my lineage back to 1890, so what does this mean? Yeah, I swear to God, people are so retarded, dude, is what it is. And these are the same, by the way, these are the same fucking crackheads, legitimately. They're all like, oh, we was this and we was that. We was like, they're basically like, we was kangs and queens and shit. We created everything from the doorknob to the fucking door itself and shit. But in reality, they haven't created shit ever, is what it is. Actually, the best one I saw this week, it was this young black dude who was probably like 22, 24, somewhere in there. And he was trying to debunk a thing of African nations, because it was basically about them being shitholes, what it is, and was pointing to all this different architecture that was created in these countries, but yet failed to actually admit that it was not a bunch of Africans creating those sculptures and those different pyramids and different landmarks and stuff like that. It was a bunch of white Dutch people, or it was a bunch of white Germans and stuff like that go into those countries back in the day on ships and stuff and created everything like that's what it is. So yeah, it's just funny stuff, dude. Also kind of sad too, for that matter, because again, like, I just don't know if these people were just like so low IQ they just don't give a fuck is what it is, or if they just would rather sit there on their ass and do nothing than actually create something is what it is then. Because the thing is, like, you can actually go out there as an individual and create something great, man. And you can have an accomplishment and be like, hey, you know, I'm this black dude that created this thing, whatever it is then. Instead of just trying to take everybody else's accomplishments and claim that they're your own is what it is, which is so ridiculous, not only from that aspect of things, but it's also because you're trying to basically say it wasn't just you that created that, it was like your race of humans that created that is what it is, and make it all race-based crap is what it is, instead of just being like, hey, it exists, doesn't matter who actually built it, it's just that it exists, you know? And that's the thing, like, you can look at America right now and you look at what has become of this country, and every first world nation for that matter, whether it be America, whether it be Europe, like all of European countries, basically, from the UK to Great Britain to Italy, what was I gonna say, Poland, Ireland, Scotland, etc. There, all these places, all these castles that were created in these places, all these skyscrapers that were created over here in America and stuff like that, dude. Like 90% of those people or more that created all that shit were white dudes. You know, all those dudes working on, like, you can see that, you can go back into history. There's literal video evidence of this stuff. When you had like the Sears Tower being created back in the day, or you had like the Twin Towers being built back in the day, and it was a bunch of white dudes on high steel, a lot of which fell off said high steel and died. You know, like there's literal dead people in the foundations of these buildings, dude. Like, their ghosts are there. So, yeah, just craziness is what it is. Anyway, let's see what else got going on. It's some crazy shit here. I'll just go through the feed here is what it is. So we got breaking drag queen school board member who was just arrested for alleged sexually explicit communication with a child. So they're basically sexting some kid is what it is. Was a guest speaker at the Democrat Party Pennsylvania caucus in 2024. Well, I'm not surprised by that at all, dude. That is one ugly motherfucker. I gotta say that, man. Like, I don't care if they want to dress up like a chick or whatever it is, dude, but they are some ugly ass people, is what it is there, man. So what we got here now. Ashamed of nothing. Guess it's a Juneteenth celebration. I never understood those, I forget what these are called. It's like party cart or something. Where you're literally getting drunk on the table there, but at the same time, you're wheeling yourself because it's like a bunch of bicycles all put together or whatever there. And it's like, that just seems like a bad combination anyway of like drinking and essentially bike riding. Like, it just seems like not a good idea. Because that's just a good way to get fucked up for it is then. I'll tell you what this kind of reminds me. It reminds me of I was watching that Nashville 911 show a couple weeks ago now is what it is. And it was like the first or second episode of that show. It was a bunch of, I think it was like bride and bridesmaids doing shit like this is what it is. And they end up crashing into, I forget if it was like a trolley car or what exactly it was that they smacked into, or it was just a regular vehicle. But yeah, it reminds me of that. Like that's what I was kind of just waiting for. This video was just like them just like smack into some vehicle or something. So, although I don't think it's going to happen there, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Yeah, no, this is not going to happen then. All right, well, whatever. All right, what do we got here now? Got some more Juneteenth based bullshit here. Let's see, what does this guy say here? Got this Rodney guy saying Robert Griffin III celebrates Juneteenth with his mixed kids and white wife, and the internet loses their minds. Why do people hate to see a black man and a white woman? Attraction isn't a choice. It actually is. It actually is a choice, you fucking moron. Number one. Number two, it's not the fact that you have people hating on the shit. What it is you have two different racial backgrounds of people where you have one that is at least one known intelligence level less intelligent than the other, in this case obviously being black folks compared to white folks. And then you basically have a chick who has really, really good genes there and a guy who has like maybe not so great genes over here. And now they're giving these kids all kinds of fucked up possible diseases in the future is what it is there. And that's another thing too, by the way. If you look at stuff like sickle cell specifically as a big one that only occurs in the black race, and now you have these mixed kids that are potentially going to be sickle cell, that potentially could get sickle cell disease in the future is what it is then. Or like other various, disease factors that only affect, unfortunately, black folks is what it is then. And the same thing with white people for that matter. There's diseases that only affect white people. So now you got their mother who is, I assume from two white parents at that point, who now has four mixed race kids there who potentially could have like some kind of crazy white disease is what it is. So, but yeah. But anyway, what the fuck? I should have just kept going right there. He's not gonna bring this. It was literally the next slide down. What it was. Chick's got like some. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. I don't know if that's her hair or what the hell it is. It looks like some damn demon points on her head and horns and shit. And then you got the freaking crazy ass nose ring. This Holly woman said, "How about we do none of that and just go and fuck yourself instead?" What is this woman saying here? So definitely don't want to hear talk about how understand. Oh, she's basically bitching about slavery, essentially. Like seriously, it's been what, like 170 years, 180 years now, and these motherfuckers won't shut the hell up about it, dude. And it's like, and the thing is, this is my thing, right? Like, it would be one thing if these people were literal vampires and were slaves 160, 70 years ago, whatever it is now. But they weren't. They are 4, 5, 6, 7 generations in some cases removed from people who actually were slaves in this country. And now, granted, who's to even say, that 5, 6, 7 generations ago that these people could even take their lineage back to that person that potentially was a slave back then? And even if they could, like, who gives a fuck, So, I've talked about this before, actually. When it comes to my family, we had nothing to do with that ever, dude, because we didn't even come here until it was, I think it was, I'm trying to remember now, it was whatever year Vladimir Lenin took over Poland. It would have been like 2 years, maybe 3 years before that is when my family escaped Poland because they were being kidnapped by Russian forces at the time then. And that's when they came to America. So it would have been the early 1900s what it is there. But yeah, they've been here for over a century is what it is then. And we've been between my grandparents, my mother's generation, then my generation, and now my niece's generation, which hopefully she'll be joined at some point here by my future children is what it is then. It would be 4 generations of my family have lived on U.S. soil is what it is then. So anyway, got here now. Indian tourist in Japan was spotted eating hot ramen with his bare hands. What in the fuck, bro? Like, how are you not giving yourself like 2nd or 3rd degree burns there, dog? Jesus Christ, man. Like, dude, there, as far as I can tell, I think there's like chopsticks in every single one of these little containers back here. Like, just grab a pair of them. Yeah, nut. Although I saw a really disgusting one the other day. Like, it actually looked like some Indian guy. Look exactly like this dude right here is what it is. Was making some kind of Indian food. This dude literally took a ladle, scooped a scoop of dirty ass water out of a fucking pothole next to him, dumped it in the pan as if it was clean water, and then proceeded to use that to make the food. And the food that he made looked like a literal pile of fucking liquid human shit. Like every other Indian dish was. All right, what do we got here? Is this worth $15? Philly steak spot. Got a lot of tinfoil on that, bro. At least 2 things of tinfoil. That looks like some shit too, for that matter. That looks nasty as fuck, dude. I don't know what kind of Philly cheesesteak that is supposed to be. But that looks like somebody took a dump in a fucking sub bun or something like that and sold it to you as food. Yeah, that does not look appetizing whatsoever, dude. That also looks like something somebody threw up on the sidewalk and then somebody scooped it up and threw it in between the fucking sub bun. Now, what do we got here now? Got Britain recognizes polyamorous marriages. Households can earn an extra 125 euros. So that'd be about I think $30, give or take, US per week for each additional wife. Hassan says juggling 3 wives is like spinning plates. Fucking hell, dude. I was watching that Jake Monroe, I think is what that guy's name is. The dude that has like, it almost looks like his face is like weird, like face paint or whatever, but I think it's just tattoos is what it is. He was talking about something recently there in the UK because they're finally doing like a documentation of it's all the Islamic rape gangs over there and stuff. And it was a girl's story that he was talking about, and it was the pseudonym they were using for her was Chloe. I don't know what her actual name is, if that's Chloe or not. But yeah, it was basically how they were talking about this girl who was 10 years old. Her father dies. Her mother remarries a different guy. She goes to live with her mother, who was, I believe, a drug addict or something before all this. The stepfather, at 10 years old, proceeds to start raping her. Mom basically looks the other way. She goes and tells her, I believe it is her uncle and her aunt. And I'm not sure if that would have been her mother's parents or her father's parents. Or, sorry, I'm not sure if that would have been her mother's siblings or her father's siblings. One or the other, whether it be the aunt was the mother's sibling or whether it be the father's sibling, whatever it was there, or whether it be the uncle that was related to him or whatever it was there. But yeah, apparently within like a year of this girl was like, I think she was 11 at the time or whatever, or maybe just turning 11 then, when she told him about what's going on with the stepfather molesting her. And so the uncle shows up one day to the house. He proceeds to then molest her. And then she basically, from there, over the next like 7 or 8 years of her life, is basically sucked into this fucked up world of human trafficking by a bunch of Islamic pedophiles who are doing all kinds of gang rape stuff to her, literally forcing her to marry one of their piece of shit asses that got her impregnated so this motherfucker can get a visa into the UK and stuff. Like, it was just so disgusting in general, dude. And it's one of those things that I just want to see. Like, I swear to God, if I had the fucking Thanos powers to just wipe motherfuckers out of existence, I would wipe motherfuckers out of existence across the board when it comes to Islam, dude. And that's how much that should piss me off. I want to show that. This is GTA 5 India. That's actually a pretty good mom, not gonna lie, bro. That was actually impressive. Not even gonna lie. Not even gonna lie. Let's see. So I don't know if I can actually show this next one on stream or not, but I'm gonna post it on our X page as it is there. But this was labeled as 2 Indians had a street fight and both fell into an open sewer. A cow was also seen chewing garbage in the background. Gross. Oh my God, that is horrible, bro. Breaking, this was yesterday. 3-year-old boy was tossed into a crocodile enclosure by a 30-year-old male and had been mauled. The attack was quote unquote random, and the man tossed the boy at the crocodiles in the UK. He has been arrested for attempted murder. They are not naming the attacker. Yeah, no shit, they're not naming the attacker because the attacker was a Muslim piece of shit, and I guarantee the kid was white. Which, why are there crocodile enclosures in places like that? Unless it was at a zoo, maybe, which would make sense. Even still, that just seems weird. So, we got free rent video of the day. I'll watch that one later. I'll post it onto our X page to see what this crazy bitch is actually saying. Let's see. Oh, here's the list of what's talking. Oh, gross, dude. Dude does his entire foot in the fucking soup pan. Like, you cannot tell me that it's not like liquid shit, man. That is fucking disgusting, bro. God, India is such a fucking horrible. Like, why would we want these third worlders in our fucking first world nation, dude, ever? Oh, yeah, that's right. Most of us don't. So stop trying to force them upon us. You fucking jackasses. All right, let's see this engineer here. So let's see, we got this dude saying, "Don't tell me what I can buy with EBT. Unless you're black, you can't understand our struggle. The fuck I can't, motherfucker. I am permanently disabled and have to be on assistance just to be able to eat, asshole." Let's see what else this douchebag had to say. It said, quote, "You don't get to judge how we survive just because you pay taxes." What? I don't? People don't? What the heck? Like, this is the fucking low IQ, ignorant behavior I'm talking about, bro. Like, that shit right there. You don't get to judge how we survive just because you pay taxes. Like, that is the dumbest fucking thing I've heard this year, bar none. As this Matrix Mystery said, meanwhile, a safety net program grew so bloated with fraud that losing junk food now sparks outrage. Exactly. Well, not only that, but like the thing is, like, it was so frauded because you had people like that right there, this fucking able-bodied black male guy there, going out there and being on the system when he shouldn't even been on the system to begin with, and was then buying a bunch of stuff on the shit and then selling the stuff to other people, whether it be buying snacks and selling the snacks at a profit to other people is what it is, they're in the hood, or whether it be that they were then using their own EBT card and selling the food stamps themselves to someone else at 50 cents on the dollar is what it is. So, which I know for a fact I've seen that shit in real life here in the past like year or so, because it was at a Walmart maybe about 4 or 5 months ago now with my cousin, or maybe it was even in the last year, so it would maybe be like December 2025 to February 2026, somewhere in there is when this happened. But it was 2 white dudes, and you had the one guy who was like clearly using an EBT card and basically telling the other guy, being like, "Get whatever you want." And I think it's because he was selling the stamps at like whatever discounted prices it was, and then the guy was just giving him like cash on the nails of it is there. So this is kind of messed up what this dude said here. Said one more value mule in the car is going to need an oil change. His suspension just filed for disability. People like this should be hunted down with Ozempic dart guns for the good of society. I mean, I'm not quite as big as this guy is, but I'm still. What was my weight today, actually, at the doctor's? I think it was just under 460, which when I was talking to my doctor about this weird bulge in my stomach from, I don't know if it's a herniated deal or what it is. I need to go get I need to go get a CT scan at some point in the future, though. But yeah, I think I really hope it's not a tumor growing, because I noticed recently in the past 6 months, I don't know if it's like changed shape or if it's just like gotten bigger, it seems like. So I don't know if it's like, if it is a hernia, I don't know if it would be like more of my like intestinal tract is somehow like spilling out into my organs or something. That's what it is there. But it hasn't affected my bowels, which I think is interesting. So I don't know what the hell it would be then, unless it was like a massive tumor growth or something like that that's happened since then, which would be no good either. So yeah, like just my luck, I got like stage 4 fucking, like, or I got like some kind of a what do you call it now? Yeah, like a stage 3 or stage 4 fucking tumor, and I'm gonna be dead in like 2 or 3 months or something like that is what it is. I have no clue if that'd be the case then. That'd be a fucked up way to go out, honestly, dude. Like surviving colon cancer a decade ago and like 10 years later from like some random tumor growth in your internal organs or something like that. What it is. Who knows? But anyway, continuing on. What we got here has to be the most American meal ever. What is this guy adding in here? So let's see. You got a Costco pizza. You got Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches. And then it was cookies, I think is what he had on the top of them after everything was said and done. And then dumped some kind of like nacho looking sauce onto them. I'll tell you what this reminds me. It reminds me of that Epic Mealtime people. They used to do like those crazy calorie counts, and like it would have had to make you sick as shit, honestly. So that's just pure gluttony right there. It really is. Now let's see what this chick is talking about here. Saying something about a baby. See, American's baby was born in December. Had to stay in the NICU for 125 days. She got the bill, and it shows it's $1,763,527.43. Almost $2 million for 125 days of care. Obviously, she couldn't pay it, so they actually took her to collections multiple times. That's so fucked up, dude. And we do need healthcare reform in America, 100%, dude. Said this one was able to get Medicaid covered for a couple months and is having to try to contact collections to try and sort this out. She still owes a lot. Yeah, that's so fucked up, dude. It's crazy to me that they'll charge this woman here almost $2 million, but yeah, we'll give you legal free healthcare in this country. It's like, make it make fucking sense, dude. Because it doesn't, and it never fucking will. Oh, I do want to point something out here too before we leave today for this episode. This is just a sad one. Schwabel's, that has been a local bakery here in Ohio for the past 120 years now, is going out of business. Historic Ohio Baking Company announced it will liquidate after 120 years of business. City leaders in Youngstown said the closure will have an impact on the community, with one council member describing it as another devastating blow to the city. And I mean, it makes sense though, because when you actually look into the story, I think I saw this like 2 or 3 days ago is what it was. And so basically what it is this Schwabel's bread company. So they've been a staple here in Ohio since 1906, I believe was what it was. Or it was even 1905. But basically, they have been using machinery that is out of date right now. And between the aging machinery, the cost of ingredients to even make bread now, and then what was the other thing that they cited? Oh yeah, pensions that are owed to people right now that used to work for the company, what it is there and have for decades, been getting pension funds and stuff like that. Between those 3 factors, they basically cannot afford to keep going, and they would have had to have like a massive cash infusion or had like some kind of buyout happen to them to keep in business. So it's very sad. It really is, dude. And again, like that's, you cannot tell me that's not going to affect a local community there in Youngstown, when I guarantee that place was probably the beating heart of that fucking town and probably provided most of the jobs there is what it is. It's like every other time that we've had stuff like that, where you have people just getting fucked over like that's what it is then. Let me go look it up real quick. Rules. Employees. Oh, so I guess there is some good Now that I've looked it up now, there actually is a little bit of good light at the end of the tunnel, I guess is what I'd say on that one. Because we got General Excursions offers jobs to Schwabel's employees here. This is 4 hours ago. This came out locally. Yeah, so the company is currently hiring in multiple roles, including manufacturing, maintenance, and supervision. Boardman, the news that Schwabel's Baking Company plans to liquidate business has caused uncertainty for some employees. That's why one Boardman business is stepping in to help. Aluminum manufacturer General Excursions is offering immediate employment opportunities to affected Schwabel's employees at its facility in Boardman. The company is currently hiring in multiple roles, including manufacturing, maintenance, and supervision. The company says many of the skills developed in food production are highly transferable to their positions. So we understand many employees from Schwabel may be facing an uncertain transition. We welcome their experience and are committed to providing a stable long-term opportunity right here, close to home, with a commute that will likely feel similar. The company said in a press release, a complete breakdown of all available positions can be found below. I mean, that's cool, man. At least it's going to be something where at least one area of the state will still be, getting some jobs and stuff like that, and people ain't going to get completely fucked over there is what it is. So let's see if we got anything else about exactly how many people. Oh, here we go. Schwabel's closure will cost nearly 500 jobs. Yeah, according to filings, 110 workers will be laid off in Hepburn, 370 in Youngstown. So 370 people in Youngstown are going to lose their job now because of this shit. That's so fucked up, man. Yeah, that's a lot of employees, bro. Like 400 people. I don't know. It's a sad situation all the way around. Is what it is. Oh Jesus. So going back to the Juneteenth mentality for a minute here. You got, as expected, Knicks fans are stealing these signature blue and orange garbage cans during the parade yesterday. Oh, good Lord, man. I swear to God, these are the same people that used to steal all the 420 signs. Oh, man. Our society is so fucked, dude. I think we'll leave off today with this story because this is one that we've talked about a bunch of times, but we'll talk about it again now, which is the Austin Metcalf Carmelo Anthony case. So you got Austin Metcalf's dad revealing more information about what happened behind the scenes leading up to the Carmelo Anthony trial. Warning, it will make you angry. Jeff Metcalf confirms that the Frisco ISD was pressured by race activists to allow Carmelo to graduate. Of course they fucking were, dude. Of course they fucking were. And he has the emails to prove it after bowing down to the mob Frisco school system there. Then tried to refuse to give Austin Metcalf a posthumous diploma. Fucking disgusting. So the murderer gets a diploma, but the victim doesn't. Austin's family had to fight like hell for them to eventually allow Austin to get a diploma. But not just that, the school system made several mistakes along the way and handled the entire situation horribly overall. Any teacher who tried to speak out about it was immediately fired. Superintendent Mike Waldrip, who was behind most of the problems, conveniently retired one day before the trial. Dude, Jeff Metcalf and his family just need to go after every single one of these motherfuckers. They need to go after the entire Frisco ISD school system. They need to go after this piece of shit ex-superintendent. Financially, they need to go after the fucking principal of the school. They need to go after the principal of the school that Carmelo was suspended from at the time. Because you shouldn't even be on that fucking school grounds to begin with, is what it is there. They just need to start taking lawfare scalps across the board. Now is what it is, bro. They need to sue the hell out of Carmelo's parents 100% for every single dime that they've taken in the give send goes and stuff like that. Now, granted, we all know that's gone, but even still, like, it would be a kind of a hollow victory on that one, but it would still be a victory nonetheless because it would put him in like debtor's prison. Hopefully, is what it is at the end of the day for fraud and everything else like that. And yeah, everything needs to change at this point, man. So anyway. But yeah, I'm just fucking so over this shit right now, is what it is, bro. Such a bunch of disgusting bullshit. Jesus. I swear to God, we really are living in clown world some days, dude. You got old dipshit in Maine, Graham Pletner, who has a literal Nazi tattoo, slams Republicans as being fascists. I don't understand how this fucker's even still in the Senate race at this point, dude. Like now, because not only like the Nazi tattoo scandal and stuff like that, but also on top of that, you have like inappropriate sexting and stuff like that going on. With my understanding is, it sounds like it was both women and children for that matter now, where they got potential as a pedophile. So it's like, yeah, why the hell is he even still in this race? Is what it is. Why do we not have automatic disqualifications across the board now for even running for office based on X, Y, and Z things? Is what it is, dude. Obviously, the biggest one being if you're going to attack 2A rights as a pre-oath breaker, your ass doesn't need to ever be an oath breaker, is what it is then, because you can't ever get in office with it is then. So, see what we got here. Alex Jones, they intentionally used children as bait. Then once the Muslims were there, they let them rape at least 500,000 or 500,000 young girls and boys. Welsh Refugee Council is run by a collection of, you guessed who, Keir Starmer's main job before becoming prime minister was being the chief of the magistrate in charge of covering up all the molestation going on there in the UK. Other countries across Europe, like Germany and Sweden, have run similar international advertisements using kids as lures for military-age pedophiles to invade the West. I'll tell you what, the fact that Ireland right now is on fire based on Henry Nowak's death recently, or no, I think it was a mix of Henry Nowak's death, but it was also the guy who was almost beheaded by some fucking turd water team for that matter. Like, that's what needs to happen to all of Europe at this point, dude. We need to have like a fucking French-style revolution in 2026 here that then leads to an American Revolution 2.0 here in America, where we kick Islam the fuck out, we kick a bunch of other turd waters the fuck out, and we just take back our country by force. But it is then. So that's what it's going to take, honestly. It's going to take all that shit to happen. And until it does, nothing's ever going to change. So, anyway, on that note, that's pretty much it for the day. I've burned through pretty much everything we're going to talk about today. Actually, this one just popped up 5 minutes ago from lives TikTok. Got some black supremacist dude. Says white people should be working on Juneteenth so that they can pay black people reparations. Oh my God. I think we gotta do one good one here for today, and show exactly how most of us just feel about this whole thing, which is a good old Scooby-Doo meme. Yeah, that guy was definitely a rigger for sure. So he was rigging them boats for sure, man. But anyway, yeah, I got some stuff I gotta do though. So, well, I'll post this. There's a one that the N Wokeness account there on X posted a couple hours ago, where it was a good old Charlie Kirk. I miss Charlie Kirk so much, is what it is, because he really was one of the good guys, honestly. Charlie Kirk and why Juneteenth is bad. Important to share this one because this is a position that leftists use to justify why they murder him. Why they murdered him. Yeah. I mean, it's all just a bunch of bullshit, what it is, dude. Like, really, and I think in some cases it was government too on that one because you had the government basically just wanting another holiday off. And so they're like, oh, well, there's this thing that now is coming around or whatever. Let's just call this a fucking holiday and, let people have another day off is what it is then. I actually didn't think about that until now. I'm wondering if maybe that's why I saw so many more people watch today is what it was at like 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning. Because there's a bunch of people off for Juneteenth because they were like federal employees or something, maybe. I mean, that would make sense, honestly. Yeah, because you even have Mr. Black Supremacist himself, Charleston White, explaining why he refused to celebrate Juneteenth. I mean, quote, we need a new crime bill. We don't need a motherfucking holiday. He is right about that one. He is right about that one, honestly. I've talked to people about this from the AK Nation news guy to a bunch of other folks too, for that matter, across the board. And it was, what was I going to say now? Like pretty much everybody agreed that the best thing to happen to America right now to help fix our broken justice system would be simply bring in the exact same crime bill that existed in 1994, or bring in a similar mix to it there, where it would be something very similar to that, but maybe just like do it a little bit differently is what it is there, to where it wouldn't be like people, doing like life imprisonment for like a dime bag of weed essentially. So, but we for sure need like tiers of strike laws is what it is there, whether it be 3 strikes, whether it be 2 strikes, or whether it even be in some cases just 1 strike laws where it's just immediate death penalty for certain crimes that it is then. And we're much better off than what it is. So, but yeah, I think we will leave off with this one last thing here, which is something the Gain of Fauci account said yesterday, which was never forget when LeBron James tried to dox and threaten the life of a white police officer for killing a black woman before he had any facts about what actually happened. Then the body cam footage came out and showed that the officer heroically saved a black woman's life that was about to be stabbed to death by the first black woman that was shot and killed. After this, LeBron James deleted the post in shame, but millions of people had already seen it, and many of them still believe it today. He never apologized to the officer for doing this, just moved on like it never happened. LeBron James is legitimately a terrible person. He's a fucking black supremacist piece of shit, dude. What the hell do you expect from a fucking douchebag, scumbag, sack of crap, who is one of the most illiterate motherfuckers ever to come out of the state of Ohio, whose entire retarded ass photo collage of reading books is him literally opening up the fucking cover of a book and reading the first page because he is fucking illiterate, and then posting shit like that, which, by the way, I want to point something out on that one. I'm pretty fucking sure that the body cam footage actually existed when LeBron made that post talking about basically killing this cop is what it is. He's just such an ignorant bastard. He didn't bother actually looking into it. It was just, oh, the cop shot some supposedly unarmed black girl who literally had a fucking knife in her hand, by the way, that was I believe a kitchen knife, if I'm not mistaken. Because what happened was the girl there in black with a knife in her hand, it was her and this girl in pink, who was also black, by the way, had gotten into this happened in Columbus, Ohio about, 4 or 5 years ago now? I'm not sure exactly the time frame. It was I believe it was after 2020, though, so it was either 2021 or 2022, I believe is what it was. So it was basically, you had the white cop there. Him and his partner were called out to a domestic violence situation at this house. They get there. You have, I believe it's the girl in pink is running out the door. You have this crazy bitch in the black top running after her with a knife in her hand, tries to stab her against the car. Cop partner, who was driving at the time, pulls up. This white cop here jumps out of the vehicle and immediately sees that there's a weapon, grabs his police issued, I think it was a Glock if I'm not mistaken, and proceeded to take care of the threat, is what it is. And everybody's like, oh, why didn't he use a taser? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? And it's like, dude, you literally react on instinct. You see a weapon in someone's hand that's about to stab someone. You're not going to use a fucking taser. You're going to use a fucking bullet to take care of the problem. So, but yeah, it's just a bunch of shit, honestly. And I'm so fucking sick of it, man. I'm so fucking sick of pieces of shit like LeBron James and all these other fucking Hollywood pedophile pieces of shit being able to get away with all this stuff and not be held accountable. And I think this is exactly the problem with our society in a nutshell right now is what it is, dude. It's the fact that we've let so much black supremacy and just so much bullshit be gotten away with for so long that nobody wants to actually speak the truth is what it is. So but yeah, we got this black dude here who's actually debunking Juneteenth in less than 2 minutes. There's what he said. So I'll let you guys check that one out. So we got Andre Williams talking about black people will make this shit and wonder why people are tired of black people. Yeah. By the way, these motherfucking YNs now are going on TikTok and doing something, I believe they call it the Austin Bop or something like that, where they're acting as if they got stabbed and then basically mocking Austin Metcalf's murder is what it is. Like, karma needs to punch these motherfuckers in the face so hard is what it is, dude. Like, they all need to get fucking just dealt with accordingly is what it is, dude, for real. And yes, Andre is correct. This is exactly why people have black exhaustion at this point, dude, because we're fucking sick and tired of all these goddamn ends that won't just fuck off is what it is. So, speaking of which, I don't know if I said that earlier or not. I actually saw when I was at the gun shop earlier, I saw two different black dudes that came through. The one looked fucking shady as shit, honestly. Like he was gonna do some stuff, like he was gonna steal something or whatever. The other guy like was just looking for some kind of ammo and like a hunting caliber, because he was looking at the one side that had like all the like 357 and like other stuff for like lever actions and stuff. There's what it is. Not if he's looking for a specific 357 round, if he's looking for something else entirely. But yeah, I did pick up some 350 today though, so which I guess I never realized how small these rounds actually are, because really it's just a blown out 5.56 is what it is to a straight wall, so it's not that much bigger. It's just, you know, instead of having that neck cartridge, just a straight wall cartridge with the 357 bullet, and that's what it is there. But yeah, I remember when these boxes used to cost like, I think Walmart used to sell them for like, it was either $9 or $10 a box. This one cost me $17 today for 20 rounds. So, which is not cheap at all, dude. And it should not be that much for a round that literally says target and practice on it. So, anyway. But yeah, everything else that was for like legit hunting was like at least 2 or 3 times that much. I think the next cheapest one they had on the shelves was like $36, $37 for 20 rounds. What it is, and I'm just like, there's no way, dude. That shit should be $45.70 at that point, because I remember $45.70 used to cost around $2 a round. So hopefully something will go on sale here in the near future though, and I can pick up a couple more boxes and what it is, because I definitely want to use up at least one of these boxes to do some target practice with, but I want to have at least 20 rounds left to then go hunting with is what it is in the future. So which I probably will just use these to go hunting with, but I'm not sure because I know it's when I looked at them earlier, it's like a flat point tube was what it's not even a point tube, it's like literally like a flat tip to the bowl is what it is there. So I'm not sure if that would even have impact or not, especially with these are FMJs, right? Yeah, they're 145 grain FMJ is what it is. So, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see though. I definitely want to go out 350 is what it is here because I do have that in the bedroom right now. I'm just waiting to put it together as what it ends up being then. So, which, like I said, as soon as I can build out one of these lowers, probably the 250th anniversary Ruger one that I got, I'll probably put that on the 350 is what it is then, and just have that sit around. Then is what it'll be. So, also, by the way, for anybody watching out there, if you guys know of a place, because I know they have dust covers that'll have like caliber stuff on them, what it is there that's engraved in it. I swear to God, there is some kind of a thing that exists. It would be like a sticker piece or whatever for the dust, for like the inside of dust cover that you could do like caliber stuff on. I don't know who sells this stuff, but I need one of those that says 350 Legend on it, is what it is there, or just 350. Like either one works because I want to put that inside of my dust cover for that gun because apparently that upper that I got from Delta Team does not have 350 written on the barrel anywhere that I can tell of, or if it does, I have no idea where it's on there, and I want to make sure that it doesn't get mixed up with one of my 5.56s what it is then, because I know with that one it has there's a couple of different uppers I've gotten from Delta Team that have a similar handguard on them is what it is there, and I don't want to have that be a situation where it could potentially be a catastrophic failure down the road is what it is there. So I'd much rather have something where I could either have something written on the dust cover or even just have something that I could potentially maybe put on the actual like rail system itself or something like that. That'd be the case to make it like distinctive or whatever then. But yeah, potentially if I could find like a sticker or something I can put in the dust cover, that'd be nice. So if anybody knows of any company that sells that kind of stuff, let me know, please. Or even just drop me a link to the stuff in an email or something like that, or even just drop it on the, if you guys are on NEA's Discord or anything like that, do it on there, that's what it is. So anyway, that's about it for today. I got some stuff I gotta do, and I'm gonna probably take a nap after that because I'm pretty tired. So I still been dealing with the insect shit. I had another fucking earwig come out of the woodwork last night. Ironically enough, it was about 3 feet from me right now, because it was over on underneath the table there that I have sitting that I'll use to do some of these before. It's like basically a tray table that I got up that's shiftable off of Amazon about a year ago now. And yeah, unfortunately there was one sitting right there about to try to chew on. I think it was like an orange peel or something that I fell on the floor the other day. Actually, I think it was a tangerine that fell out of a bag the other day and fell on the floor. And when I picked that up to grab it off the floor last night, it literally freaking earwig went flying, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. I was able to kill it, thankfully, but even still, it shouldn't have had to come to that. And that would have been the 21st one I've seen in this damn place now that I haven't having to kill. So, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last 3 before that I killed had all gotten in before my cousin had cocked up that baseboard in my bedroom. There's what it is. So that should have been the last of those guys. But I have no idea where this one came from. The only thing I could think, because I know my cousin was wearing pants today, and he was wearing pants the other day when he came through with my the pistol I had him and his buddy build out for me. And I'm wondering if it wasn't something, because I noticed today where the stupid ass mowing company that does mowing here, for some stupid ass reason, my neighbor kid Mickey, they will not mow directly outside of his bedroom window there. And the problem is because they're not mowing that patch is what it is. It's causing like a crazy overgrowth into the freaking sidewalk. And I keep trying to tell them, I'm like, dude, mow that shit down, or at least mow it back anyway. Because I think what's actually happening now is you have a situation where there is, whether it be an earwig den there or whether it be just a bunch of different bug dens there, is what's happening. So it'd be a mix of like piss ants and earwigs and everything else out there that are all hiding in that overgrowth that should have been mowed down a month and a half ago or more. And because of that shit, they're now looking for ways into the foundational cracks in this place. And they found their way into my place, and they might have even found their way into Mickey's place for that matter. I don't know. But it's just fucking ridiculous when it doesn't need to be a thing at all. And I'm seriously at the point right now where I'm about to like contact my landlord and be like, dude, fucking fix this or you're not getting paid rent next month. Because this is ridiculous. I should not have to live like this. This is clearly an infestation I've had to deal with on my own. And this is bullshit. Like, it's easy enough to simply just have your damn mowing company come out here with a fucking weed eater and just weed that shit down what it is there. You know, probably take care of the problem then. Maybe just dump a little bit of poison or something then if that be the case. So, yeah, it's just beyond fucking frustrating right now is what it is. But anyway. But yeah, hopefully this last one that I found in here now was simply because my cousin was just walking past and it just happened to be one of them was on one of the pieces of overgrowth and just knocked into his pants or something like that and just fell off when he got in here or whatever then to hand me that stuff. Because that would be the only thing that makes sense to me at this point, because I don't think it would have been able to come from the bedroom that's like at least 100 feet away right now, all the way through everything I'm sitting here, and then somehow come around here in like a 3 or 4 day time span. I know they move fast as shit, honestly, but like I don't think they move that fast. Whereas in the time span between the time that my cousin came and the time I saw that and killed it last night, it was like a day and a half maybe. And I could totally see that being, you know, like it falls off and then it just kind of slips in someplace here, and then it just kind of fell its way over there and just hides basically for that time period then. And I just didn't see it until then. Versus, hey, it's been in here for like 2 weeks or something like that kind of thing or something like that. But who the fuck knows anymore? I don't know. I'm just ready to get the fuck out of this place is what it is and go find some other place that's hopefully not infested with random shit is what it is there. So yeah, it just sucks, dude. A lot. But yeah, hopefully in the next couple of days here I'll be able to take some of these bins and start moving some stuff around to them and getting a lot of the shit out of the boxes and into bins, and I can just throw away all these boxes what it is then. And at least mitigate a source of these insects or then, or a source for the insects, I guess is what I say then. But yeah, it just sucks either way, dude. It's just such a fucking pain in my dick is what it is. Because the thing is, I'm not a filthy person. Like, I'm really not, honestly. And to just have, like, these infestations just randomly happen now is just ridiculous as what it is. It reminds me of once in my mom's place, where it seemed like we were having, like, the 7 plagues at that fucking place. It's like, I swear to God, it was like every summer for, like, 6 or 7 summers in a row. It was just wasps / hornets. It was various ants of various sizes, whether it be carpenter ants, whether it be little piss ants. There was some silverfish at one point then. There was, trying to think what else we had there. Crickets were getting into the house at one point during one of the springs or summers. Like, it was ridiculous, dude. But yeah, like I said to my cousin when he fixed that baseboard last week, by putting a bunch of caulk there is what it was from the tube. He I think it was when we had that like super what do you call that thing now? It was like that super cold front back in the like March, April. We went back in like February and January and stuff like that. And it was like -10 to negative, I think there was like -30 degrees or something like that at one point during one of those big ass cold snaps. I think what happened was, and that was when I heard all like the creaking and the cricking and cracking and stuff like that. I think some of the foundation of this apartment complex was getting like cracks in the foundation from that like heat up and then like cool down situation. There's what it was, or where it was starting to like naturally come up to like the 30s and 40s, and then all of a sudden it was like negative 10 or 20 the next day or whatever. Then I think it was causing like micro cracks is what it is there in the foundation, especially around the windows and stuff there. And I think that's what it was. They were able to get in through that weird little baseboard crack there that was caused because of the weather and stuff. So it would make sense, especially given I think it was last year when I moved in here. So it would have been June or July of last year. I thought I saw one earwig in the bathroom at the time, and I wasn't sure how that thing got in. But that was a one and done though. That was not 20 plus now that I've killed. So yeah, it's just ridiculous as it is, man. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get off here. I need to call my sister about some stuff. So I'm gonna make that call and then finish doing what I need to do, and then, like I said, probably just take a nap is what it is. I actually had a pretty good sleep last night, at least before midnight anyway, because then, of course, it was after midnight, the fucking train started going through again a couple times, but it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I had a pretty nice 3.5 hour nap in the chair here, and then I had a semi decent nap after the fact. Then my doctor, when I went to him today, he was like, "Oh, how you feeling today?" And I'm like, about as good as I can be now. It's like a little bit better than usual. Today was actually a pretty good day. Everything, obviously, it's all before the gun shop and stuff like that. But yeah, up to that point, it was a pretty good day. Like the nurse was asking me, she's like, "Oh, you have any depression stuff, whatever the case?" And it's like, the thing I never understood about that is it's like, okay, even if I was having like depressional thoughts and stuff like that, or like, bad thoughts and shit, why the fuck am I going to tell you people that? So you can like deem me mentally ill is what it is or something, and like lock my ass up for a 72-hour psych hold? Like, no, that's just stupid. I'm just going to deal with that shit myself and get the fuck over is what it is then. Or if I need to talk to somebody, I'll just talk to somebody is what it is then. So I also realized how recently how many movies from my childhood, like the early 90s and stuff like that, as an adult now are affecting me like very emotionally. Specifically, it was a lot of stuff I used to watch with my mom back in the day. And I think that's what it is. I think it's just hitting. It's just me still in that grieving stage is what it is there, where it's, I don't think we're ever going to accept her death ever until the people that literally killed her are either behind bars or at the end of a fucking rope at this point, honestly. And until that happens, like, nothing's going to change. Especially when both those pieces of shit are trying out for the governorship of Ohio right now is what it is. Along with the scumbag that's the current governor of Ohio right now. So until all three of those fuckers are locked away for the rest of their worthless lives, what it is right now, this is never going to change. There's what it is. But I think I'm in like that weird flux of like grieving stages though, because I remember there being I'm trying to remember now. I think it was a Simpsons episode, like a bunch of years back now is what it was, and I want to say it was Homer was the one that was experiencing like weird grief. Or who was Family Guy? I'm not sure. I can't remember offhand. I think it was one of those two. I think it was Simpsons. That was what it was. And it was basically the dude was going through like all the stages of grief except for like acceptance, like in a continuous loop is what it is. And it kind of reminds me of some of the stuff I've had going with myself right now is what it is, where it's like it's just like weird triggers, I guess is what I call it. Or like certain things will kind of set me off into like I don't really want to say like crying fit, but just like emotional, like I need a good cry basically is what it is there. So, which there's nothing wrong with that as a grown man, especially when you're, grieving, family that's been lost in the last couple of years is what it is then. So anyway, but I'll be back. I'm not sure if I'll do a Slicey Boy episode tomorrow. I know I was supposed to do one last week, and I totally forgot about it then because I was just not feeling the greatest. It depends. I'll play it by ear right now. If I do something tomorrow or Sunday, it'll probably be like a 20-minute episode or something like that. Then if that be the case, maximum. Just because even right now, just sitting here, my arms are really hurting right now from the arthritis and stuff like that. I know I'm supposed to take my medication pretty soon here in the next week or so. I'm thinking maybe that's what it is my arms and joints are starting to hurt now because it's like getting to that point where I got to take that shit again. So, depending on how I'm feeling tomorrow, we may or may not do an episode then. Same thing with Sunday, depending on how I'm feeling then. It may or may not happen then. If it does, I'm not exactly sure what I'll do yet. I might just do some of these. I got some EMTHII knives in recently that are pretty good. They're D2. But I also got that 14C28 stuff that I want to talk about as well, and I can't remember where I set those ones now. So if I can find those, I'll do the comparison of 14C28N stuff, where it's like fixed blade versus folder. If I can't find that stuff, I'll just grab these HTMI or EMTHIIs out and just discuss those for like 5 to 10 minutes probably. So, but anyway, either way, I'll do an episode at some point, most likely this weekend is what it is. It just depends on when I feel like doing it. So it might literally just be a pop-up episode, honestly, out of nowhere. Like I may not even set anything for it yet. But anyway, till later. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be caring. Always situationally aware. Always make sure to write your address incorrectly in a 4473 because the ATF might try to fuck you over. And then try to screw with the gun shop in general to where they got to basically force you to then buy stuff that you don't really want to buy to have a proper ID is what it is then. So anyway, but yeah, that was literally like $30 I really don't want to spend to do that stuff. But I'm not just gonna not get my 2A stuff. So especially when I need the two. Oh, that's one thing I think I forgot to mention before everything then. So before we leave today, going back to the gun shop stuff, just to show how fucking stupid the ATF is, you apparently, as a FFL in this country, cannot put guns and ammo in the same bag when you're selling them to customers, even if the guns in question are literal pieces of metal because they're strip fucking lowers. Like, again, this just shows how asinine and tyrannical our government has been allowed to become in 250 years is what it is. And why we just need a complete clean sweep across the board and just start booting all these outrageous using the curb what it is then. And take back our nation from the tyrannical bullshit that's been going on for decades now when it shouldn't be even existing in the first place. So anyway, till later. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Stay safe, stay vigilant. Always be caring, always be situationally aware. Always be ready for anything, especially with the 4th of July coming up and the fact that we, this past week now, have seen a terror plot unfoiled where the guy that was running it was an alien and was basically trying to target that UFC event that Trump was doing at the White House. So if they've already talked about that, dude, I guarantee their sleeper cell operation is going to happen this 4th of July is what it is then. So my best advice to everybody at this point is if you are planning to go out and do fireworks celebration, gatherings and stuff like that with people at some place, change your plans. Don't do that shit at all, dude, because I guarantee that's what they're going to be targeting then. Or if you do, make sure you can carry on site then because you're probably going to have to use your gun to stop some terrorists is what it is then. But anyway. Yeah, that being said, hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully our government actually does their fucking job, steps up and gets the shit done. However, given how fucking inept both parties are at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just let the shit happen, honestly, dude. But one thing is for sure, if something does happen, this literally needs to be the final day Islam was on U.S. soil forever is what it is then. It's like if some giant terror attack happens because of these fuckers being on our soil to begin with, That needs to be the final straw, and it needs to be the final date. Islam is ever allowed on U.S. soil with a permanent ban of these motherfuckers forever is what it is then. Which should have already happened on 9/12/2001, almost 25 years ago now. But anyway, that's about it for the day. See y'all. Peace out. Have a good one. And like I said, always be carrying. You got to be ABC, bro. Got to be ABC. Later, y'all.